Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Saturday. Welcome to Game Day Live, presented by the Let's Go Devils Podcast Network and the Primetime Radio Studios, along with Hank Brew. My name is Vinnie, Parise, and I'm here with my friend Shorts Guy as we get you set for New Jersey Devils hockey as they take on the San Jose Sharks. Rawr. Is that the noise the Sharks makes? Welcome to all fans watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere you can get your podcasts. Shorts Guy, the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah.
Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith, all the great young players that play for the San Jose Sharks, including an old friend, Tyler Toffoli.
Yes.
Should be a fun matchup today. Devils are looking to snap a 3-game losing streak first of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello to everyone in the YouTube chat. Wimpy, I see you there coming from Allentown. Anthony LaPena, what's going on? Happy Saturday to you as well. Yeah, it's, man, the last 2 games were tough. So you've got to do a turnaround tonight against the Sharks. This is a team, again, this is another team we should beat, just like we should have beaten Anaheim. We should have beaten LA. Yeah, we got to come out. I don't know if they've announced who they have playing in net for them tonight for the Sharks. We know it won't be, well, we know it will not be Mackenzie Blackwood, who shut us out 1-0 earlier in the season. However, the Devils really got to, start learning to beat these lesser teams, which who would have thought that would have been a problem this year? We're losing to the lesser teams. But on the flip side of this, let's look from the other side, from the Sharks side, from the Ducks side. The Devils are the team to beat. So the Devils are the team that these lesser teams want to prove themselves against. And they're doing it. So that's something that we definitely have to fix, because we're the team to beat now. So that's kind of the price of success, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. And they got William Eklund back from injury. They put Jake Wallman on injured reserve, which is obviously a big bit of news for them. I'm trying to capture who is starting in net for them. I know they got Marc-Edouard Vlasic back from injury after a long time away, which is good news for them in terms of a veteran leadership point of view type thing for them. But as far as the Devils go, yeah, they've kind of lost to some teams that are lesser than them at times. But here's the thing about Anaheim. They have good players too. They have a real good goalie.
Oh, yes.
They're trying to win.
He proved it against us.
He absolutely did. And they're trying to win, of course. They're a team made up of pros making a lot of money trying to win as well. The coach of the team doesn't want to get fired, so they try to win. And I think they have 15 or 16 wins on the season now. And most of the time, that means they beat a team that's better than them. And on paper.
Yeah, which now that you're saying that, I remember we looked at who Anaheim has beaten, and they've beaten some good teams. The LA game feels like it was just another one of those nights too, where the Devils were just they played real hard. They just couldn't do it. They couldn't score. So I don't know. It's one of those things that I think the Devils are going to have to solve. Now, the plus side, once we make the playoffs, it's all good teams, and the Devils seem to do very well against good teams.
Absolutely.
We just got to. These are unfortunately points that the Devils should be obtaining right now, but they're not.
It happens. And listen, part of this 3-game losing streak is also the Kings, who have won 8 straight at home, and the second half of a home and home with Carolina, where you won the first game. So we all would have signed up for a split in a home and home with Carolina, each team winning the home game. You drop the one to Anaheim. That's the one where it's really that was a tough loss, especially giving up the game-winning goal in regulation with 3 minutes left after coming back from being down 2-0. And then the Los Angeles Kings just beat you. You went there, and they took care of their business in their home barn, which they have been doing for well over a month now in a row. It is Yaroslav Askarov in net tonight for the San Jose Sharks against the veteran Jacob Markstrom, who has been outstanding this season. Again, 1-3 since the holiday break, the one win being against Carolina in that first game back. You try to turn the tide and get a big win here. It's funny because I was looking at the standings today, and people do act like the sky is falling every time they go on a little skid,
They do.
Every
They do.
every team in the league goes on a little skid. There's no avoiding it. It's a grind playing 82 of these things. It just is. And it's crazy to me. Like, could they use a middle six depth scorer? Absolutely. I do think that is something that will be
Yep.
on Tom Fitzgerald's watch. You know, whether it is a guy like Taylor Hall, I'd be so sick if he came back, even though he's not like the MVP version of himself. Like, just a guy like that in the middle six, that'd be great. I'm rooting for it. I do think Fitzgerald recognizes that. He's actually mentioned it. And, you know, but like, you're going to go through like little tough stretches like this. I think it's inevitable. And you get
It
a
is.
game against San Jose today. And again, looking at the standings, they're still 11 points clear of a playoff spot. That's like
I know.
5. They would have to lose 5 in a row more, make it like an 8-game losing streak, and every team below them would have to win every game that they played during that stretch in order to catch the Devils. Like, they are in a great spot. They've played so well in the month of December and most of November, to the point where it's like every team's going to go through a lull. Remember when I came to New Jersey 2 years ago? For those who don't remember, 2 seasons ago was the best regular season the New Jersey Devils ever had in terms of wins and points. Now, they didn't win the Stanley Cup, and they have 3 of those in the bank. So, like, nobody will ever say it's the best season ever. But it was the best regular season ever in terms of wins and points. I came to New Jersey and was part of a 4-game losing streak, all in regulation. So, that happened even a season where they were that good, that dominant all year long. I still think the Devils can like get on that level this year. I don't really care what their points total is by the end of the season. I don't care what place they come in. You just got to get into the dance and be ready to go by the time the ball drops, as they would say. I think the world of this team right now. And yeah, they didn't play well against Anaheim per se. I do think the Kings game went a little south after they went down 1-0. And then the Carolina game, we remember the Timo Meier thing. If that flips the other direction, you never know what happens. So, and we've seen a bunch of NHL players get fined for embellishment ever since that Marty Nietzsche thing. I do wonder if Gary had a little sit down with whoever is in charge of supplemental discipline for embellishment and stuff like that. So we'll see how that moves going forward, hopefully in the right direction, where hockey players used to have pride in not being hurt and all that kind of thing. Patrice Bergeron playing in the Stanley Cup final with a hole in his lung, and now guys are just, I'm hurt, I need a penalty. But like, that's a whole topic for a different day. And I'm shocked Sam Wu hasn't jumped on the mic yet since bringing that up. But you got an important game today against the San Jose Sharks.
Oh, absolutely. And, I'm just kind of looking in the chat. We had, I think it was Stephen Engel said we got goalied, and we did. That's definitely true. What happened in the that game against the Ducks. Mike, what's going on? Happy Saturday to you as well. And someone else in here said it, mentioning, and you just kind of alluded to it. There's really, it's no secret that the officiating has been suspect, and it's frustrating because it's affecting games. Like, if you have suspect penalties and suspect calls, like the goal, I want to say it was, at this point I can't remember if it was the Kings or the Ducks that was taken away with Nason in front. No, it was the Kings.
It was the Kings.
It was the Kings.
Tied it up at 1.
It would have tied it up at 1, and that would have completely changed the complexion of the game. And I was watching that, and obviously I'm going to be a goalie sympathizer and always side on the side of the goalies. But I can tell you this: I've had that exact play happen to me in front of me with my defenseman and an opposing forward, and a goal goes in, and I've had the refs say more often than not, "Oh, your guy pushed him into you. That's why the goal is going to count." And you clearly watch Nason was pushed in, he was bumped in, and the goal was still disallowed. So Nason came right out and said it after the game, like, all right, so what is goalie interference? Because I think goalie interference is going to start to become much like what the NHL had to do with what constituted being in the crease at the time of a goal. If you go back to late 90s, if you had your foot in the crease on the off side of the play, just half a skate in the crease, they called it a no goal. And that's why they chopped the sides of the creases off to kind of give a little bit more room for the players versus the goalies. But I think we're going to go that way as far as what constitutes goaltender interference, because this is getting almost absurd as that foot in the crease deal that we dealt with in the late 90s, which was so frustrating. That this is becoming, it's like, all right, so what is considered goalie interference? And I see Mike Malello's in the chat. He knows, he's on my team. I play with him regularly. He's seen me get bumped into, and a goal still counts. But you know what? It just this is becoming a frustrating thing, because we had 2 goals that were not counted, and they hurt us. One would have been 4. That was the Carolina game, I want to say, and then one, both would have been 4. And that they just it's. I feel like I'm not making any sense anymore, but it's just so frustrating.
It really is. And I thought, like, excuse me, the way that Nason was kind of like, to me, it didn't matter whether or not it was him who initiated the contact or not. Like, I do think that he was pushed in, of course. But, like, even if he wasn't, it was Darcy Kemper. He had a good 2 seconds to reset, and he did.
Yep.
He reset himself, and then the stick was in the leg of the forward, but that was Darcy Kemper's fault.
Thank you.
And
okay, I was seeing that the same way.
It also had no bearing on whether or not he made the save, in my opinion. And I'm not a goalie apologist. I want more goals. I want you to be upset all game. I want goals. I have an offensive brain. I was like that in every sport I played. I was on the offensive side, but I'm also a Devils fan, so like in hockey, I appreciate like good defending
good
as a forward. As a and like Selke type forward play. Like my favorite player of all time, besides anyone that was ever on the Devils, is Crosby. And Crosby to me is the ultimate. Thank you. Woo! Is the ultimate two-way forward. Yeah. But like to like look at that goal and think that shouldn't be a hockey goal is just banana lands to me. So that's why the losing streak, there's some bad luck in it. You make your own luck if you scored more than 0 goals in that game or more than 1 goal in that game. You probably win it anyway in spite of the bad calls by the referees. I do think sometimes when a bad call goes against you, teams use that as an excuse to like use that as the sole reason it's not the sole reason they lost to the Kings. The kid had his first NHL goal, Lee. He, roofed it. It was a beautiful play. Then from there, they kind of took over. LA's really good at home. I mean, how can you not be really good at home when you have Buddy the Elf in the front row for every single game? I mean, yeah, right? I think I would play with my pants on fire if I were the Los Angeles Kings too, knowing that Will Ferrell, the legendary comedian Will Ferrell, is sitting right there every single game. That's incredible. And you get past it. You lost to the Sharks already once this year. Go into San Jose and beat the crap out of them right now. Someone asked Celebrini about how does it feel to be a point-per-game player as a rookie. He goes, I want to win more. He doesn't even acknowledge the question about him being a point-per-game player. And listen,
fantastic.
I'm super stoked to watch Celebrini play against my favorite team today. That guy's awesome. He kind of reminds me, Devils fans will appreciate this, especially since we only see him twice a year. He reminds me of Nico Hischier. I think Nico's defensive ceiling is a tick higher, and I think Celebrini's offensive ceiling is a tick higher. But the way they play just reminds me so much of each other. That two-way forward. It wouldn't shock me if one year Hischier wins the Selke Trophy and Celebrini's the runner-up. Like that would not, or vice versa. Like it wouldn't shock me at all. I love watching him play. Hopefully he's a little quiet today. And that Will Smith, 4th overall in 23, really, really good player. Sharks are interesting. It hasn't led to a lot of wins for them for most of this season though. And the Devils need to pounce on it today. I need a big game from everybody. Like get the bottom 6 going a little bit. And I do feel like every time there's one guy that gets like destroyed on social media in between games, that guy comes out and scores almost immediately the following game. That's Eric Halla. If you're a prop better, Eric Halla today. I feel it in my bones that he scores a goal today against the Sharks.
And I saw that in the chat. I think it was AJ Visco said that he thought that Eric Halla should sit. But yeah, there's and
that's been the discourse.
And then Brooke Amanda said that it's like he isn't even alive. Yeah, he's got to get going again.
Yeah.
He's got the Four Nations tournament coming up, so he wants to be playing well
Mhm.
going into that to play well for Sweden, and then it's just overall to be here to play great for the New Jersey Devils. And I'm completely in agreement with you. Play and beat the Sharks now, because the way the Sharks team is coming up, the Shark Tank is going to be a formidable place to play in a couple years, like it used to be. The Shark Tank used to be one of the intimidating arenas in the league, and right now it's not, because they are so terrible. But I feel like the Shark Tank is going to become that place that's tough to play in. So let's get these points now, when especially right now when we need them, before the Shark Tank becomes that place again. Woo! All right, super chat from AJ Visco. Thank you.
Woo!
And let's acknowledge Wimpy said it. Super chats equal wins, and he's correct. He's correct. So super chats do equal wins. Vinny, you unfortunately have missed some of the most lucrative game day lives with super chats.
Yeah.
And Sam and I were
which
going nuts, which was so much fun.
maybe that's the problem. Maybe I need to just black out my face. Nobody wants to give money when this ugly mug is on the screen. Eric Holla.
Vinny, you're beautiful, Vinny. And Katie
Thank
agrees
you.
with me.
You are too. Eric Holla, plus 425 anytime goal scorer on the DraftKings Sportsbook. No free ads. I couldn't help but notice that the Devils are minus 355 against the San Jose Sharks today. I don't know if I've ever seen them be that much of a favorite against a team. And I don't even ever remember when they were in like the dog days of like Damian Brunner and like, their leading scorer was Henrique with like 45 points.
Oof.
I don't even remember them being plus 355 at any point.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
that's a crazy
that's
line.
nuts. That's nuts. And I'm gonna take a look at the whole prop bet before we get off air, because it sounds like something worth going for. But in all reality, he does have to pick it up. Players on the bottom six have to pick it up. And I saw there was a lot of noise being made that Fitzgerald took in the San Jose Tampa game. Whether there's anything into that, I don't know. Like, you're stupid if you don't do it as Fitzgerald, just to go look and watch, and just to kind of hobnob with, people. Yeah, he's made deals with San Jose in the past. We've seen that happen. You've got Tampa Bay out on the West Coast. It's not bad when you're in an area where you can kind of get in touch with some people that you may want to make some trades with. It just sounds like good business to me for him to take it in. Whether or not there's anything there, who knows? But why not? Like, go take in another game. Go scout some players. Like, we're going to be buyers at the trade deadline. That's for sure. Yeah. And if you have the opportunity to see two teams you don't normally see, especially San Jose, you don't normally get a chance to watch them in person. And being able to watch Tampa, like, we saw Tampa down in Tampa. And they were pretty good against us. Like, but I don't fault him for doing that. But I don't know if there's necessarily anything to get excited about, because who knows why he's there.
It's also the last team Fitzgerald made a huge trade buying with.
Talking San
obviously
Jose, right?
San Jose. Obviously, the Timo Meyer trade. He's also made a couple trades with Tampa Bay since Brisebois took over for Steve Yzerman as their GM.
Yeah.
So I do think Fitzgerald is a very proactive guy. He's out there. I think he's one of the best GMs in the NHL. I'm very thankful that Tom Fitzgerald is the GM of the New Jersey Devils. And Ted, he came into a situation.
I've spoken to Ted on the side. Ted might disagree. I don't think he's in the chat today, but Ted might disagree.
I mean,
I agree with you, Vinny.
Ted's entitled to his opinion, but I see the body of work that Fitzgerald has done, and even he acknowledges mistakes too, which I think is key for a GM, because there's not a single GM in the NHL that's perfect. And look at Steve Yzerman. He built Tampa Bay's dynasty, and then he goes to Detroit and he's struggled mostly. And there's a little bit of luck that goes into being a good GM too, because guess what? Braden Point was a 3rd-round draft pick that turned into like a Team Canada guy. Sorelli's a Team Canada guy. Where'd he come from? I think he might have been a first round pick, but like nobody expected he'd be like a 90-point Team Canada guy. You know, you had Stamkos, who was the number 1 pick. Kucherov turned into a superstar. He was a second round pick. He probably fell to the second round pick because of the Russian factor, but like he's a superstar. Hedman, second overall. Like there's all these things that go into it. Well, the Devils kind of have had some of that luck. You got Nico Hischier, a franchise two-way centerman. And then you make the playoffs the following year with Taylor Hall, and then all of a sudden you stink the year again, you trade Hall. Here comes Jack Hughes. Like, how that was lucky. And then if you could redo the 2021 NHL draft, Luke Hughes probably goes first. And the Devils got him 4th.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would take Luke Hughes over Owen Power right now, and Matty Beniers and Mason McTavish, who all went ahead of him in that draft. I'm not trying to be like a Devils fist bumper here. Those are the facts. I would take Luke Hughes over any of those guys. There might be like a later first round pick or early second round pick that has kind of like jumped up. I would have to really do the research from that draft, but it's hard to argue that they won the lottery in that year too, because Luke Hughes turned out to be the best. Then you lucked into Nemitz, who hasn't even really jumped in the pool of the NHL yet. He just dipped his toes in the water. Like there's so
Still
many
developing.
good things coming, and this team is far from its like what we hope is like the final form of a team that's competing for the Stanley Cup every single year, like Colorado or Tampa, Florida now, Vegas. What the Blackhawks were 10 years ago, the Kings 10 years ago, the Penguins 10 years ago. They can get there, and this could be year 1 of it. It really wouldn't shock me if this is year 1 of it. You win around again. You technically could call it year 2, with that last year just wiped to the wayside because of injury and bad goaltending. But I don't know. I'm excited. I know the losing streak got a lot of people down. I don't really care. You go out there and get a win today, you're right back on track. You'll go from the 4th best record in the league to the 3rd best record in the league.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I will say this: I'm annoyed with Owen Power's parents, and the guys on Hockey on Tap know this, because his name should have been Max Power.
Yeah,
should have been Max Power, just because of the Simpsons. Like I that's the only, like, Owen Power's name should be Max Power, because how great of an NHL name would that be? Here comes Max Power charging down the ice. Like, come on. So I have that problem with Owen Power's parents. But yeah, I completely agree. Like we won that draft, and I think long term, like, Luke is just going to be insane. And I see Stephen Angle, thank you for acknowledging, because Mikey Malillo, who is a Ranger fan, who's in our chat right now. Mikey Malillo is actually one of the Vinnie. He's one of the best guys I know. He's one of my teammates, and he's actually one of the level-headed Ranger fans that knows that his fan base is insane for thinking that Rempe is their savior. But hey, it is what it is. Plus, Mikey Malillo is one of those guys that would protect me if I get touched, which I know would please some in the chat. That sometimes it happens, and he agreed that goalie interference right now we don't know what it is, but we get screwed with it in our league because it is what it is. But man, this is we got to win today. That's the thing. We got to win today. I would love to go out to a game in San Jose, so I think that's on my list of places to go.
It's in my top 5, I would say.
It's I want to do the West Coast swing one year when I'm able to, and when I have the time. Plus we'll get to go to a couple games out there with Scotty. But to go to the Shark Tank would be pretty awesome. And I'm excited today because I've not yet seen Celebrini play, nor have I seen Askarov play. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing both those two players play. I hope they both lose today, but at least at least I'm going to be able to see the two of them play today.
Absolutely. Now, I'm no expert, but I would say I watched at least a bit of every game Celebrini played last year with Boston University, and then every game he played with Canada at the World Juniors. And then I saw him play in person once this year, and I buy the hype. I fell for the hype. I think he's incredible. And that's a guy, if you're Hischier, which happy birthday to Devils captain Nico Hischier. you got to be locked in on that guy. Jack Hughes has to be aware when he's on the ice. Jack Hughes has been real good defensively this season. So, it wouldn't shock me at all if Celebrini, made a little bit of an impact, but I need the Devils to kind of shut them down. The Sharks are 2-7-1 in their last 10, even though, and one of those 2 wins is their most recent game. Despite losing 3 in a row, the Devils are 6-4-0 in their last 10, which goes to show how white hot they were going into the Christmas break. Because, to add 3 losses to your last 10 and there still be 6 wins in there is nuts. We're looking at the second best power play in the NHL for the Devils, 29%, the 7th best penalty kill, middle of the pack in face-off percentage, 10th in goals per game, 3rd in goals against per game. Then you go over to the Sharks, basically the exact opposite. 23rd best power play, 18%. 17th best penalty kill. You'd like to see them Devils take advantage of the special teams situation today. Goals for per game, the Sharks are 27th. Goals against per game, they're 29th. So, there are Devils fans out there that would claim that this is the perfect storm for them to just lose. But, you can't think that way. You got to go into this thing believing that this is where you end the skid. There'll be another skid. I don't know if it'll be 3 games in regulation. Hopefully not. But there'll be another skid. Hockey gets extra hard in January and February. It's hard to win all the time. It's extra hard to win, regular season speaking, in January and February between Christmas and the trade deadline. Very hard, especially with the 4 Nations face-off coming up. And there's going to be a lot of focus on that. You just got to grind it out, win special teams matchups, and, it should be a fun game. And Shorts Guy, I think it's about time. You look like you had one thing to say before Shorts Guy chimes in with his last comment. Go into the chat right now. Put your predictions in on YouTube. I will read them live on air right now when Shorts Guy's done with his next point.
I was just going to say the one thing the Devils need to do today and start and then move forward with it is get that power play clicking again. The power play has been dead. It's just been stone cold dead.
And they're still
over
second.
The last couple games. I know, but it's interesting that I don't want to be conspiracy theorist Sam here, but the Devils were red hot in power play, and then we stopped getting penalties, and then now our power play looks atrocious. That power play's got to come back. It's going to have to be the key to today's victory. And I'm seeing in the chat a lot of a Ranger fan and some Devils fans all kind of getting along, which is great because, again, Mikey Malillo is a really good guy. We're going to have him at an American Whiskey one of these days. He wants to come hang out with us.
Got a Ranger game coming up.
Yeah, we do. Well, that's away.
It's at
that's
MSG,
away.
though. Yeah.
It's at MSG, but we'll have Mikey Malillo. Maybe we'll have Mikey Malillo out this Saturday against Tampa Bay because I think a couple of the Hot Pod guys might come out. So maybe we'll have Mikey Malillo come out to hang out. But yeah, it's you know what? We got some good vibes going in the chat, and that's what we need today with the Devils playing against the San Jose Sharks. We need some good vibes for a win today.
Absolutely. And, looking at the chat, it seems like we are starting to.
By the way, before you get going, I just got my score, to tell me the game's in 15 minutes. The score app tells me the Devils are minus 400 today.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow, so it moved. The score has them even bigger favorites.
Wow.
I mean, Eklund's just coming back from an injury. Outside of Celebrini, you're not really getting consistent offense from anyone. Like Granlund's been good this year, and so is Toffoli. Outside of those 3, Will Smith is very talented. I wouldn't give him too much open space. Outside of those guys, if you can play your game, and the Devils defend well, I really haven't had a problem with any defensive efforts over this tough little stretch. Since Christmas. Nothing really got out of hand. A couple bad luck here, bad luck there, and you all of a sudden, you left some points on the table, but nothing was crazy defensively, and that's when I get really discouraged. Like, I just recently got done with a 3-game losing streak for the Chicago Blackhawks for the Hockey News, and they got blown out in all 3. Like, there was nothing encouraging. Yeah. There was no positive way to spin it in any way, shape, or form. That hasn't been the case here. So,
Unfortunately, what I'm this is the way my brain's going to because of the way the last couple games. Unfortunately, this is like the game for Askarov to show why he should be in the NHL.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'm afraid of because Askarov wants to be here, wants to be in the NHL, and this is just not good. This is definitely not good. And I'm looking. The score's got a minus 400. I've got minus 350 on DraftKings, minus 355, minus 345 on Caesars, and I'm looking at FanDuel. But anyway, why don't you read some scores because we're getting off topic. The Devil game's starting soon.
Yeah, and I know people are going to want to be ready, locked in for the game. It seems like people already kind of are. Dubs says 4-1 Devils. Selecta says 4-2 Devils. Brian says 5-0 New Jersey. Would love that. Tom 3-1 Devils. Anthony says Devils win and find that winning way today. 4-3. Holla gets a goal and an assist, hopefully. Steve Engel says 5-2 Devils. Joseph says 6-2 Devils. Beach 3-1 Devils. Brian made a funny point. Holla saving it for the playoffs. I mean,
hey, I'll take it.
Incredible in the playoffs. AJ Visco 3-0 Devils. Anthony wants me to point out that Tori says Devils 5-2. Nico with the hat trick on his birthday.
I'll take it.
I saw something today. I got reminded. You might remember, I think it was last year, he sure had a natural hat trick, and it was the first natural hat trick by a Swiss-born player in NHL history. So that's obviously really cool.
I'll take
it. It looks like that's it for the predictions. I didn't see, unless I missed earlier in the day. But yeah, that's what I got for predictions so far.
Okay.
Shorts guy, what do you got for me?
So this is going to be this is a game the Devils should win, but we've got a young goalie looking to prove himself, which we've seen that be a problem for the Devils in the past. But I'm thinking that the Devils are just going to really turn it around, and I'm going to say the Devils are going to win this game 4-2. Askarov will get his chance, but I think the Devils just overpower him today.
And we got a Sam Wu prediction that kind of toes the line. It toes the line of a typical Sam Wu prediction.
It does.
But at the same time, if that happened, I wouldn't fall off my chair the way I would with some other Sam Wu predictions. Like if he ever one day Sam Wu will nail one of those crazy predictions.
Just like Max did against the Flyers. 7-0.
Yeah, exactly. 7-0. Like I read like Brandon Saad had a hat trick yesterday for the Blues, and someone quote tweeted it that's the first hat trick that Saad had since the Blackhawks beat the Penguins on opening day in 2017 10-1. Like those things do happen. They beat the Penguins 10-1 on opening day in 2017, and like one day Sam's going to predict one of these or come within a goal. But this one, like I said, it toes the line of a typical Wu prediction, but it's not like out of the realm of possibility that they would win a game against the San Jose Sharks. You know, I assume the Devils are coming into this game hungry, angry, mad. So we'll see if he comes close there. I was going to go 5-1. I'm normally very reserved with predictions. I don't predict high scores at all. Hockey's not a high-scoring game typically. You know, when you watch hockey as much as we do and you appreciate defense as much as we do as Devils fans, you know that like you're not going to normally see a crap ton of goals. But I think the Devils should be able to take it to the Sharks today. Like I want at least one instance of 2 goals within a couple minutes of each other. Like go out there and really show who's boss in this game. I'm a little nervous. I won't lie, because I know it's going to hit the fan if they lose in regulation.
Oh my gosh.
I know it. It could be a hard fought 4-3 loss where just Fellabrini made like I'm calling him Fellabrini because he's a fella. He's one of the fellas. You know, he makes a sick play late in the third period, and this place is going to go bananas for the team. They're going to have to trade everyone, fire the coach, fire the GM, which would be nuts. But need a win today.
it's not nearly as entertaining as some of the Facebook groups for the Rangers right now.
Oh my God! And they lost today. They got smoked today by Washington.
Did they really? What was
Yeah,
the score?
7-3. 7-3. Ovi scored again. He's 22 goals away from breaking Gretzky's record. So, yeah.
Man. It's just it's one of those things where it's like, man, like, and then I started going to some of the Devils groups. I'm like, all right, this is kind of entertaining, but it's not as entertaining as the Ranger fan groups. It's so much fun to just like read and watch. So,
the only thing with the Rangers, how do you not fire the coach?
I don't know. But
take off your Devils hat for a minute. Pretend you're a Rangers guy for 5 seconds. How do you not fire the coach?
They should have a while ago. But I honestly think it's there's something. Chris Drury has I think completely screwed this team with the Goodrow move and the Trouba move. And I want to say that those two things have completely screwed this team. But you know what? I'm here for the entertainment. I am 100% here for the entertainment. Much to the chagrin of Mikey Malillo, who's been on our group in the YouTube chat today, and our good friend Billy Dean, despite some of his really weird takes on the Devils Rangers. Man, I am here for that mess because it's just so much fun to watch.
That is very true, and hopefully the Rangers.
Oh yeah.
I mean, be competitive at least. I mean, this rivalry is not even going to be fun.
At least wait until after next weekend to be competitive. Well, true. I would love to take them down on Thursday, and then I'll be at the game in April at home, which is going to be a ton of fun. So it's going to be fun. And I saw in the chat Wimpy's going to be there on Saturday against the Lightning. If anyone is coming out next weekend against the Lightning, come on out to American Whiskey, hang out with Sam and I. Go to jonariacrew.com, sign up so we can give you some updates on what we're doing. And it's 6 minutes to game time, Vinny. I say we get out of here and we start watching our team, which unfortunately a lot of us can't do because of Optimum and MSG, whatever. They can go screw themselves.
So annoying. Blackhawks fans in Chicago are dealing with something very similar. Very dumb. Look out for ways to watch the game. Do what you can do to watch the game. Nobody will frown on you for it because you need to watch hockey. You need to watch more hockey. You think you're watching enough hockey? You're not. You need to watch more. And thank you to all fans watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever it is you get the Let's Go Devils podcast. Download our show wherever it is you can download podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube. Go to joinourcrew.com. Stay tuned for Devils After Dark after the game that was against the San Jose Sharks. And as always, to my friend Shorts Guy from the great Sam Wu, let's go Devils.